Joining me now is the General Manager of Ontario Sheep Farmers, Jennifer McTavish. Welcome here, Jen.
Good morning, Lyndsey.
All right, so it has been an exciting time for your organization in the last little bit, as
hmm
last week there was just a whole slew of meetings about a pretty cool feasibility project going on. So what is this all about?
We're running a project right now looking at the feasibility of a production insurance program for the sheep industry. So if you think production insurance around the crop side, we're trying to see if that would work. Something similar would work for the livestock sector.
Okay, so I'm an Ontario producer. We
hmm
do have a risk management program through Agricor that is focused more on price. How
Right.
how is production insurance different than that or similar?
So the risk management program will cover your risk around price and marketing for the pounds that you get off the farm. With production insurance, we're looking at mitigating or tools to manage the risk before the pounds get off the farm.
Right. So
Yeah.
could we be looking at, and again, I will state very clearly that this is OSF is looking at this as a feasibility study of
Yes,
whether or not this can happen and what it might look like, right? So none
that's
of us,
correct.
yeah,
Yep.
none of us, this is decided. But like, could it mean that I could insure, like, let's say I have 100 ewes, and can I
hmm
insure that, I usually get 170% lamb crop? Can I insure that? And if I have, an abortion storm go through and get half that, that might trigger a payment. Is that what we're talking about?
That was part of the discussion that we were having at these production insurance meetings. What risks do producers want to see covered? So what keeps you up at night as a farmer? And how would you want those risks covered? So would you want insurance on a per head basis or on a pounds produced basis?
Okay.
That was all part of those discussions.
Okay, right. And so those discussions happened last week. Napanee, Lyndsey, what was the third location?
Napanee, Lyndsey, and Woodstock.
Okay, and Woodstock. So in conjunction with Farm Show
Yeah.
last week. How was turnout, and what were some of the conversations that happened around that table?
Turnout was excellent, actually. We probably reached about 40 or so farmers, and the conversations were great. The farmers were really open to having discussions around how they would like to see production insurance work. There was a lot of discussion around the different management styles. So how do we ensure, or how could we ensure, accelerated lambing systems versus annual lambing systems? It's going to be an ongoing discussion because they are quite different.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest bottleneck we're going to have is around the lack of industry data. So we're going to have to come back out to farmers and find out what kind of data do they have and how much data would they be willing to share with us. Because, of course, the less data we have, the harder it is to get an affordable system built. The more robust the data, then the easier it is to build a system that's more affordable.
Right. So, because I mean, if every single Ontario sheep producer is going to use this, and we know how many that is, that's a very different question you ask of an underwriter than
Right.
if it's only going to be half, but that still represents X amount of animals or whatever. So potentially then there could be sort of another step before something like this happens of a call for more information. But that OSF sort of has that in the works already through the UGROW program, right? Is that sort of
Yes,
where that fits in?
that's correct. So the data that we're trying to collect through UGROW is very much production-based data, which is exactly the kind of data we would need for a production insurance program. Now, there are other ways that we can try to find data as well, and we're looking into those options. That's part of the feasibility project, is looking at, not only are farmers interested in this, which the feedback we're getting is that they are, but also if they are interested, are they willing to provide the data needed to build a production insurance program?
Mm-hmm.
We don't need the data right now. We're not building anything right now, but we're just, I guess, dipping our toes in the water to see what the interest level is and how willing people are to participate.
Right. And of course, it can all be done anonymously. There are ways to do that.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yes,
So,
absolutely. It's all anonymous.
right.
Yep.
And we have this conversation oftentimes when it comes to, say, field data or harvest data or anything like that. There has to be, what's the value trade-off for providing your data?
Right.
So, right. So in this
Yep.
situation, I'm sure people, and as they should be, would be concerned about privacy, but we can answer that question. And of course, if it's to achieve something like production insurance, it's a pretty great value proposition if we can get there. So I guess that brings me to one of my questions, though, is, as an industry, the sheep and lamb industry is one that certainly has incredible potential, but often struggles to maintain those that enter the industry past the 5-year mark. Is production insurance a key piece of potentially adding some of that stability for producers, or why does OSF want to go down this road and feel that this is necessary?
That's a really great question. A lot of the driver is the work that the Ontario Sheep Farmers has been doing over the last couple of years on ensuring, or working towards ensuring, that sheep farmers have risk management tools at their disposal that they can use. So whether it's RMP, or if we get in production insurance, or even the work that's being done nationally on trying to get the suite of business risk management programs reviewed and modified to better suit producer needs. So I think that from the board's perspective, if we can get as many risk management tools as we can in the hands of farmers, then it will it'll help them stay in business when things get really rough.
Mm-hmm. Well, and realistically, I think as a producer myself and as relatively new to this industry, I think management and health challenges are probably one of the biggest, right? I mean, we've identified things like access to funding or finance, or access to certain genetics or those sorts of things. But ultimately, most people I talk to who are relatively new to sheep, almost all their questions surround sort of losses and health and productivity, efficiency too, right? Of feeding these animals and getting more lambs to market. So I can certainly see where that ends up being, one of the downfalls of making it to year 5, 6, or 10, or wherever we want to get to.
And we heard that really loud and clear at the meetings. I mean, a number of the issues that came up were things like abortion storms. Mm-hmm. So it's not the everyday losses that you might have, but it's when you have a substantial enough loss that it's really going to impact your production and your profitability that year. That's what we're looking for, coverage for.
Now, for producers who weren't at the meetings, is there, but perhaps if they end up hearing this or read about it or those sorts of things and feel very strongly that they want to, throw their 2 cents in on this or want to keep track of what's going on, is there still an opportunity to consult or to offer up some thoughts about this? What sort of happens next, I guess, is the question. Sure.
So if they want to stay in touch specifically around this program, I'd encourage them to email general@ontariosheep.org and let us know, because we can send them the survey, and then when we're coming back out to consult farmers on data specific questions, we can make sure that they get added to the distribution list for that.
Okay, so specifically to this. Now, it is, here we are, we're mid-September, and I'm going to put a plug in because maybe you don't want to, but I'm going to. But the annual convention, the sheep convention, does happen end of October.
October 24th and 25th.
That's right, and the AGM. So I will say, I, for one, this will be, I can't remember what year this is now that I'm going, but it is a full day of learning and networking with fellow sheep farmers. But a really great lineup this year. The convention looks fantastic.
Thank you. Yeah, we're pretty excited. The staff's been working really hard on getting a good guest speaker up from the U.S. and focusing on nutrition. And then in the afternoon of the Thursday, the 24th, we have a number of breakout education rooms for people so they can pick the topic they want to learn the most about. So it'll be exciting.
Yes, exactly. There's one on body conditioning and scoring. I probably should do, because I figured they all look fluffy. They're fine.
Yeah, exactly.
But they're not. You have to put your hands on them. Okay. All right. Jen, this has been fantastic. Thanks so much for sharing. We will, of course, here at Real Agriculture, share that email we'll put it on a post on realagriculture.com. So if anybody is interested, yes, please do get in touch with Ontario Sheep. All right, Jen, thanks so much for joining me on the show today.
Thanks, Lyndsey. Have a good day.